can you vote for those people? They cannot even find a good name for their political party. Somebody who cannot even name a child, can you vote for them to lead your country? Can you do that? Answer. Okay, now I will let these two people go into the substance. You may think this is not substantial, but this is very important. Because I know my parents knew that I'm going to be called Saduba. They call me so clear, Saduba. But if you cannot name AP's All People's Congress, the whole World Congress, it's not good for us. Now let's go to the program. We have. This is just my remarks. The introduction of members of the caucus will pass for now. I think with these few words, we can have refreshments before we come back to the mic to do what we have to do. As far as I'm concerned now, we have a very, very viable audience here. They are listening, and we have a lot of talk to do. You will love it. And we don't want to bore you. That's why I'm not going to the substance of why you should vote for SLPP. There are people to tell you that. You have to stay and listen to hear them. Believe me, when you hear them, you will dig deep into your pocket to elect SLPP. Thank you very much. For now.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are sorry we started so late. And since we are here and we have had few snacks on the table, I just wanted, this audience is the SLPP audience, and we have the same goal. We are the same family. I want to ask the group here if you wanted us to continue the program for like 30 minutes and then we have food, or we serve food now because we wanted to go a little bit so we don't stay here too long. So can we go on and just do one or two things and then we can do food after that? Is that okay with us? Yes? Okay, let's do that. So let's go to the next one. You want to Democracy, yes.
Yeah, I think we let's eat. Let's eat. We can talk while you are eating, isn't it?
Okay, is that okay? Can you, okay.
I'm sure some people are hungry. We don't want to deprive them. Let them eat. Under the leadership of the SLPP government. That's a very burning topic, like the MC said. So, Ms. Nene Bajalo, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, again. One country,
one people,
one people,
one country.
SLPP, the only way forward, the only way up, and power to the people. Thank you very much. My job is not very difficult tonight because I'm supposed to just tell you what SLPP has done that is different. And fortunately, we have a lot of telephones, cell phones to the smallest village behind my village in Kabbalah, where you can call and testify whatever I say here this night. So we are not even lying about anything because the SLPP is the one party that recognizes women. They recognize the women and they believe that we can go side by side. They don't believe in women walking behind them and treating the men like gods, and we can prove that, okay? In this audience here, we have, if we look around, you find out that if it's not 50%, it's more than 50% women. Just look around and see. And that seems to be the population in Sierra Leone. Now the SLPP is the one party that has put together a policy, they formulated a policy for women. The one party that recognizes that women are disadvantaged. And what they have done is that for every ministry you have in Sierra Leone, they have a women's bureau. We can also testify that. And these people are supposed to take care of women's interests. So today, like I said in Philadelphia when I went to a promotion campaign for my sister here, I told them that maybe 2012, I don't want to discourage the men in this room. We are going to have a candidate, a female candidate for presidency. How about that? And you know why? Because we are not leaving the men behind. These men, we need them. We have worked for you so hard, and we are bringing you side by side with us. So therefore, we have helped you to where you are today. You helping us to be presidents too. But this time, let us make sure that we put Solobi in power and make sure he puts us in power later. We also have a lot of cabinet members. We have full ministers that are women. At least we have 3 for now. And we also have deputy ministers that are women. That tells you that the women's place is not in the kitchen anymore. We are not anymore just child bearers and cooks that put all those things on the table. We can participate and take part in a positive way like those women in Sierra Leone. So I am asking my sisters here, the SLPP party here needs the women to come and join. Don't stay behind. If the men are coming, follow them. Let's go together because we have a role to play. So please don't stay backwards. Come in and become one of the representatives. Your voice will be heard. The SLPP is the one party that has ensured that no matter what, a woman's position is going to be the front row. We have justices of peace. We have justices of peace, the highest level, where people thought the only people that could even be in those areas are not even people like country people like us. They have to be Creoles. In those days, even country people like the men, it's difficult for you to see a justice that is a northerner, a southerner, or an easterner. For the SLPP to go to the point of making women justices in every level of the court system, you will know that we are positive people. So SLPP, one party, and one people, one country. I also want you to know that we have a very great thing that SLPP has done for the women. We have been disadvantaged in the area of education for a long, long time, especially in the northern province. And I am proud of my sister here, who is from the north and wants to go back. I come from Konadugu district, where we have very, very little representation of women in higher positions. But I think that's going to change because our men now, like the Mende men and the Kono men and the other men from the other districts, believe that we have women in the north that will become presidents, ministers, lawyers, and justices of peace. So the SLPP has done something also. Now we have free education in Sierra Leone for girls at all levels. So you have a girl child, you don't have a problem. That child will go to school from kindergarten till university. How about that for positiveness? So today my job here is really to tell you that unlike any party, the SLPP has shown that women are to be appreciated. If you turn around, or even by smelling what you are smelling right now before the food meets you, you know that this is the handwork of the women. No man in this room went to the kitchen. Maybe they went into their pockets, but they didn't go into the kitchen. And if we can do that, and do what I'm doing here, and have babies, and be ministers, and be justices of peace, you don't think the women are powerful? We can do what the men cannot do. I thank you very much.
And in speech, as a matter of fact, we have a woman president of a very powerful organization among us here, Mrs. Aissatou Wuri, president of NAMA. Stand up, let them see you. See? That tells you all. Madam President, that's what I call her. All right, we move to the next item on this program. Introduction of SLPP Federation Chairman, our Federation Chairman, to be done by Mr. Aliu Dauzi Wuri, who is our brother, a member of this caucus, and also the chairman of the SLPP chapter, Washington, D.C. A very wonderful man, married to the president of NAMA. There are two presidents working together. Give them a big hand. I call them the presidential palace. Mr. Dauzi Wuri, please come forward.
One country.
One people.
One people.
One country.
One SLPP. One state house. One SLPP. One tank crash. Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say thanks to Dr. Ba for the nice introduction. And also let me acknowledge my Vice Chair, Ms. Neneba Jallo, for that beautiful speech she just gave to us. You know, the brief summary history about what the SLPP is doing for women in Sierra Leone. You know, the SLPP historically in Sierra Leone has done a lot for women. As a matter of fact, the very first cabinet we had in Sierra Leone, the SLPP government, we had a woman in that cabinet, in the person of the late Madam Ella Koblo Gulama. I mean, so it has not just happened recently, it's been happening for a very long time. Now, my job here this evening is to introduce the chairman of the Sierra Leone People's Party, North American Federation. It's fairly an easy job for me. This guy, I have a lot of respect for him. And I just found out this evening that we both have something in common. We both graduated from the same undergraduate university, Edinburgh University of Pennsylvania. You know, this is really a small world. I came over to him, I said, Mr. Chairman, tell me one or two things about you that I don't know, so that when I introduce you, I'll have something different to say about you. And he just wrote down that he went to Edinburgh University of Pennsylvania. This is a small world, because since I met him, we've been working very close together. We've developed a very good working relationship. This guy has really served the Sierra Leone community over the years. He's been with the Tegluma organization in the local chapter. He was a president at one time. And he has even been Secretary General for Tegluma Federation. That is Tegluma Worldwide. And he's really been serving our community. So he actually deserves to be our chairman at the national level. Mr. Magao is a very nice guy. He's a leader. He has vision. If we have a very strong structure, SLPP North American structure today, I believe Mr. Magao deserves the credit. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a big hand for that. You know, for a very long time, SLPP North America has had a very turbulent period, a turbulent history. But with the vision and the determination and the hard work of Mr. Magao, we now have a very strong structure in place. And we are going to take that organization all the way to July 28, 2007, with a victory for Solo B and a victory in Parliament for the Sierra Leone People's Party. Ladies and gentlemen, I had intended not to talk for this long, so I'm going to abide by my own rule. So at this point in time, I'm going to ask all of you for us to welcome and give a big round of applause and welcome Mr. Matthew Magao, Chairman, SLPP North America. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for such an erudite introduction. Well, I was surprised to have discovered tonight that he attended the same school with me. And in fact, but I was way his senior. So, not by age, but by virtue of the fact that I was first in that institution. Well, I'm not really here to talk about school or education. I'm here to talk about life in our country. And also give you a snapshot of the activities of our party in this region. I think that's my job, and it's simple. Because at the opening of this gathering, my Koto here asked few questions of us Iranians, and we answered him well. One of the questions was, do we all want to see Sierra Leone move forward? And we answered yes. By that, we meant that we have a core belief and core idea. And that core idea is to see our country develop, if not to the standard of what we are seeing here in the Western world, or at least to the standard that will make ourselves and our people comfortable. So that's our core belief. Now really, the history of the SLPP in this region followed the political history of Sierra Leone itself. Beginning, I don't want to go back to the 50s, but beginning from 1967. And I'm going to start from there. The reason why I want to connect the history of the political interplay in our country with the development of SLPP in this region is that whatever happened at that time affected the functioning of the SLPP in this region. So let me begin from the period 1967, when we had a general election. And in that general election, SLPP, of course, lost power to the then APC party. And that's where the actual history began. Because after that election and the loss of power to APC and the brief intervention of the military government, which was then NRC, National Revolutionary Council, the power was then given to the APC in 1968, based on the fact that APC won the election in 1967. And we all began to see changes, not only in the political structure, but also life in general. And that change affected the diaspora as well. What happened at that time when the then Secretary Stephen of APC government, when he took power, he maneuvered so very well to make Sierra Leone a one-party state, because he wanted power. And I'm just summarizing the history. He wanted power all to himself, so he maneuvered to make Sierra Leone a one-party state. So by virtue of that, as a matter of fact, Sierra Leone was then a de facto one-party state by 1973, when we are ready for another election. SLPP only had 15 seats after the elections of 1973. We have 15 seats in parliament. And that change brought all the changes in the world. Because then Secretary Stephen was in power and really readied himself, and he was able to transform a well-rounded democratic system into a one-party state by 1978. So what happened then? After we are converted to a one-party state in 1978, all activities of the SLPP ceased from everywhere, not only in the United States, but everywhere in the world. Because then our constitution was reviewed, and we are under the one-party system of government in Sierra Leone. So all activities, all political activities, relating to other parties ceased. And that's where it began, because the party activities in this region ceased. There was nothing, no such thing as SLPP. We are all APCs. And we operated under APC from that period up to Momo's time when I would come there. So in fact, when that happened, then most of us who were around to the SLPP went underground. And we had a lot of underground operations in this region. It began with my Koto here. He knows that very well. The Umaru, most of the guys who were so vibrant in the region with the political activity, one of them was Umaru Dumuya, Sidiki Y, of course Mati Magao, Tija Macaulay, all of these guys who were underground, and we were operating on the ground in opposition to a one-party system in Sierra Leone. That was one, and also to the APC government in general, because we knew at that time that APC government was not taking us in the right direction. But at that time, we are not operating under the banner of the SLPP, but we formed a little organization we call the Patriotic Alliance of Sierra Leone Students, because we are all students at that time. And we are writing all of these things against Saka Stephen. We had a lot of demonstrations. And one of the most noticeable one was the demonstration we had in at Lincoln University. Oh, I forget Mr. Pavito. He was among the group. We had that demonstration when Lincoln University was about to confer a doctorate degree to Saka Stephen. And we knew at that time he was not really, he did not deserve that sort of honor because of what he was doing in our country. So we went there to demonstrate. And we were all pushed back, and most of us arrested. We also had a demonstration here when we heard that a nuclear waste was going to be dumped in Sierra Leone for a mere fee of $20 million. They were going to dump a nuclear waste in the northern province. So we had that demonstration too, and most of us, that had been my first arrest in my life. So I was arrested and handcuffed. So that was how we were operating up to the time 1989 to 1990. When finally, with a lot of pressure from the diaspora and many other governments and international institutions, President Momo at that time, J.S. Momo, succumbed to bring back the multi-party system. And he formed what was known as the Caucus Commission to draw up a multi-party constitution in Sierra Leone. Again, we met and we said, hey, our days are coming now that will bring back our SLPP. Because even at that time, all that period, we were still operating as SLPPs. Because when we mounted such opposition, we are looked at as spoilers and as SLPP elements. So we were treated as such. Never at once we were allowed to come near the embassy. That was one. And few of us were really named. I just named it. Umaru Dumbuya, myself, Sidiki Y, and later on Hindulu tribe, Asfori, they all came and joined us. So we are operating as such. When the multi-party idea came with President Momo in 1990, so we reorganized. And we thought that at that time we should organize an SLPP branch. But then the constitution was not approved. It was just in the making. So we waited until the constitution was made and it was finally open or authorized for other parties to operate. So we had our first SLPP reorganization meeting at Sam Tucker's house in Washington, D.C. At that time, there was not really such organization in the entire region as SLPP organization at all. We had our first meeting at some talker's house. Mr. Pabito Umaru Lami was there, myself, now Ansuka Kai, who's the parliamentary whip, and several others. We had that meeting and we decided to reinstitute the SLPP. At that point, we elected, where we appointed Pastor Mtoka to be our interim chairman. While we were waiting for SLPP to be registered, because SLPP was not even registered at that time. It wasn't registered in Freetown. They had just called for multi-party system, but it wasn't registered in Freetown. But we hastened to organize ourselves, and we made Sam Toka our interim chairman. Well, in this region, that's how SLPP came back into being. From that point on, we've had several other people who chaired the SLPP. One such person was Honorable Ansu Kaikai, and then Mr. Francis Bundu, interim, and then Mr. Ben Sela, interim, until I came in just in May of last year. I was elected in May of last year. From May of last year, we've done a lot. We have instituted very sensible administrative structures for the party in the region. We have been able to at least have 8 functional chapters and at least 4 or 5 other chapters that are in making. Sooner or later, they will be functional. We have made an initial contribution, monetary contribution to the party back home. And not only that, we have also played host to the Vice President and his entourage in this region, which we did very well. And I thank all of you who participated in that process. Well, that's where we are, and that's the history. I want to leave this mic with a quote from a black senator, Senator Barack Obama. It says, and I will just paraphrase it, politics is about bringing people together. Because what brings us together is stronger than what divides us. You tell me, let any one of you here, or anyone who would care to listen, tell me that he or she was not affected by the war in Israel. I mean, you can say, me no deeper politics. You know, I don't care. Whatever happens, happens. Yes, fine, you're right. But what happens when the wrong person is choosing to make decision for you? That decision affects your life. And you have no choice then. But you have a choice now. I mean, the choice you have now is to choose the right person to make decision for you. Because all of us cannot be leaders. It is obvious that we're going to have few people to make decisions for us. But if we don't choose those few people correctly, if we choose the wrong people to make those decisions for us, then we have no one to blame but ourselves. Because whatever decision they make, we affect our lives. So this election coming is so very important. And it's going to be very important because it's a crossroad from where we came from. War, destruction, wanton destruction. Such hate, envy of our own countrymen. We fell prey, many of our countrymen fell prey in the hands of our own countrymen. And that's where we came from. That was the mess SLPP took over from. But let's judge where we are now. Now, if we don't make the right decision, and we risk the fragile peace we have, then we have no one to blame but ourselves. So let me don't belabor this point. I will stop there. And, you know, our president here in the region will come to tell us more about the party. Thank you very much for listening.
About a couple of months ago. So far, he has impressed me a lot. I approached him and introduced myself to him before our own chairperson, Mr. Aliu Saidu, introduced me to him. We talked briefly about the SLPP party, and he has enlightened me a lot. And I hope he'll continue the good work that he has started here. Hopefully, we'll meet again in Freetown sometime next month. Thank you, Mr. Magao.
Thank you. Yeah. So I don't want to scare you away from joining the
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. One people,
One country.
one country.
One people.
Say it loud. One people,
One country.
one country.
One people.
SLPP, the only party forward, the only party can lead Sierra Leone for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I know all of us here tonight, we are all from Sierra Leone, from our mother's land. The reasons some of us are here today, or we are here in America, is because of corruption in our country. It's about time we rebuild Sierra Leone and go back to Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone need all of us. But I don't want to give speeches here. My role here tonight is to make some people know what's happening in Sierra Leone. Those who don't know. And those who know, they are pretending like they don't know what's going on in Sierra Leone. As some other members have said in the past, if you don't get involved in politics, politics will get involved in you.
All right.
I know we are all Sierra Leoneans. We have love for our country.